Hi, this is the Business Guy. So how do you protect real estate from lawsuits? First, we'll talk about protecting your home. Next, we'll talk about protecting your income property. We'll go into detail about how to hold title to your property, land trusts, LLCs, equity stripping, and asset protection trust to keep people from taking away your real estate in a lawsuit. As a background, I'm the CEO of Asset Protection Planners and Lawyers Limited, which started in 1906, the largest asset protection company in the country. And I've been in the business since 1991, so over 30 years. At this point, I believe we have over 85,000 clients in our database and have protected literally hundreds of millions of dollars from lawsuits. So you can call and talk with our attorneys or consultants if you want more information. So let's take a look at some illustrations so you know exactly what to do. And if you appreciate this free information, please help me out by clicking the like button below so YouTube promotes this video. Thanks so much. And if you haven't already, you can join our community and click the subscribe button so that when more videos come out like this one, you'll be up to date right away. Okay, so we'll start off by talking about how to protect your home from lawsuits, where you live. In very few states you have some good homestead protection. In most states, however, you have very little. In Pennsylvania and New Jersey, you have no protection at all. So in most states, when somebody sues you, they can just rip the rug right out from underneath you and leave you out in the cold. So what do? Now, asset protection of your personal residence starts with privacy of ownership. And the first layer is setting up the land trust. And we'll go into more detail about it later, but the bottom line is the land trust / trustee holds title, so your name does not appear in the public records. So here's the land trust here. You can see it holds title to your personal residence. So that's the first layer, is privacy of ownership. So one thing we do is we'll do what is called equity stripping. So we'll take an LLC, and many times we'll set this up offshore, and that will record an equity line of credit mortgage against your home here. Unless your home has significant homestead protection, we'll record an equity stripping lien against your property so that it appears to the outside world that you have no equity. And again, this will be an equity line of credit. Now, in the public records, the public will only see a mortgage or a deed of trust recorded for the full amount. But the separate document that isn't recorded, which is the promissory note showing that it is an equity line of credit, is not publicly recorded. And then we draft a deed that you will record in the county recorder's office in the county where the property is located. You will sign and have your signature notarized on that deed, and that will transfer your property into the land trust. And then again, we draft a mortgage or a deed of trust, depending on the state, and you record that against your personal residence, so it looks mortgaged to the hilt. That's how we protect your personal residence. Now, if needed, we can get a third-party lender to purchase this lien and put the proceeds into an offshore trust. So in step number 2, that way, instead of the mortgage being payable to an LLC that you're associated with, this LLC sells the mortgage to a third-party lender who puts the dollars into an offshore asset protection trust. So that's step number 2 in the equity stripping strategy, and we do that if we need to take that second step. So how do we protect your real estate investments, investment property, income property, rental property? We do a similar strategy where we involve another tool, an LLC. So we take your investment property, we put it into a land trust, and then once it's in the land trust, we do an assignment of beneficial interest. That is, we change the beneficiary of the land trust over to an LLC on a separate document called an assignment of beneficial interest. That way, when somebody sues you, 2 things happen. You have the LLC in place to protect you from that lawsuit taking your personal assets. Number 2, when you're sued personally, the LLC can provide asset protection so that they cannot take the LLC or anything inside of it, which is the land trust and the property that it owns. And then again, we set up an LLC, preferably offshore, and we record an equity stripping line of credit against each property individually. Okay? So in the public's eyes, it looks like it's mortgaged to the hilt, and that is an equity line of credit. So there's no money changing hands initially. Now, if we need to, and this happens in only about 1 to 2% of the cases, we get a third-party lender to purchase that mortgage from your LLC, and we have the third-party lender deposit the proceeds in your offshore trust. Now, in any of these cases, this is not money you can run away with and spend because that would be too risky to the lender. But it does show the judge this is a true third-party lien, and your trust has received the bona fide proceeds. There's nothing really they can say in a legal sense other than this is a legitimate mortgage. So to review, with investment property, we draft a land trust, put the property into the land trust, we switch the beneficiary of the land trust from you to the LLC, we record equity stripping liens against the property to make it look mortgaged to the hilt, and then if needed, we actually monetize that lien and we put the proceeds from that lien in an offshore asset protection trust. Okay? So when you have multiple properties, this is what it looks like. You have your personal residence in a land trust. Each one of your investment properties are an individual land trust, and we make the LLCs the beneficiaries of each land trust. And again, we take an LLC and we record an equity stripping line of credit against each property. And if needed, we get the third-party lender involved, and the proceeds will go into your offshore asset protection trust if needed. So why is this so important? I'll give you some examples. In Illinois, the Court of Appeals issued a judgment against a landlord because they failed to stop the verbal harassment by other tenants. In California, a federal court found a landlord vulnerable for reassigning a tenant's parking spot. The Center for American Progress said that 90% of landlords have needed legal representation. A Kansas federal court issued a $167,000 judgment against a real estate broker whose email was hacked, and the hacker emailed wiring instructions to the hacker's own bank account. In Malibu, California, 15 people are suing a homeowner for more than their insurance coverage when the deck collapsed. And keep in mind, you can't rely on insurance alone. The first thing an insurance company will do is look for a reason why they don't have to pay. And for many of these things, insurance won't cover them at all. Now get this, don't expect your attorney to jump up and down with excitement and tell you to set up an asset protection plan. He'll be too worried about what the judge will think of him on the next 25 cases that he brings before that judge. So you need to take action and talk to somebody who specializes in asset protection. In over 3 decades that I've been in this business, I have trained our staff attorneys on asset protection because it's not something they teach in law school. We are the largest asset protection company in the country with tremendously experienced attorneys and consultants on staff. So we're here to help you when you need it. So that's what we do to protect real estate from lawsuits, and that's why it's so important. Now, this video doesn't go over every yeah, but, and what if, and don't consider this legal advice. It's just to provide general information. And if you like, you can call us to speak with one of our on-staff attorneys or consultants at 1-954-400-1050, or visit us at assetprotectionplanners.com. We have a whole trained staff who can help protect your assets and get answers to the questions you might have, and we'll be very glad to help. See you next time. This is The Business Guy.